Hello everybody, very good evening to one and all. Once again, welcome to the StudyIQ IAS English. I'm Abhishek Singh and once again I welcome you all in this session. In this session today we are going to do the rise of the heterodox thinkers. Alright everyone, so kindly confirm it that if it is working properly, yes or no. Yes, I am live here. So very good evening Aisha, very good evening Bulbul, Abhishek and good evening to one and everybody. So guys, kindly share this session with your friends also. In fact, I can understand that many of the friends are expecting that Hindi and English mix use, that there should be the mixed use of Hindi and English both. However, it is more convenient that since we are on the English channel obviously, so we should be using the proper communicative language that is on only English. So if you have any type of issues, any type of problems, you can simply ask your questions, ask your problems and doubts, etc. related to this chapter, related to this lecture or any previous lecture or any previous chapter in this entire series. Alright everyone, you can simply ask your doubts to me on this particular Telegram channel, that is at the rate Abhishek Singh Sir PO. I may not respond instantly, but I will definitely respond maybe by the evening or maybe after few hours. Whenever I will see the message, I will respond. Alright everybody, so let us start today's lecture. Today's lecture is extremely important to understand the fundamental concept of one of the most crucial topics of Indian history, that is the emergence or the rise of the heterodox thinkers, heterodox religions, heterodox thoughts. Okay everybody. So why is the heterodox sect important? Why is this thought important? Basically, if we talk about just a second. Alright. If we talk about the conventional socio-religious structure of the later Vedic period, I hope that all of you understood it very well, that this entire period had become complicated. Okay, complicated. It had become expensive. It had become discriminatory. Okay, discriminatory. It had become extremely unpeaceful. So we can say that the nature of the society was extremely different from what it used to be a few hundred years ago or from what it used to be during the early Vedic period. And this is why once again, remember one point, that once again whenever there will be the extremities of any type of tendency in the society will adjust itself, the nature will adjust itself, and the setback that will be ensuring the continuity of the civilization. Alright, in today's time, suppose if there is too much of internet, if there is too much of anything, then the nature takes its own setback, its own rest. COVID-19 is a great example. Similarly, not just the nature, but also the society, it also tries to accommodate itself with some changes eventually introduced over the period of time. Got it? So here, if we are talking about such features like complicated society, expensive religion, discriminatory society, unpeaceful ambience, so definitely something will be required. What is the requirement? The requirement is of solution to these. Okay, solution to these problems. Okay, and remember one point, one shlok is very important to understand the concept of historical setbacks. Whenever there is a problem in the society, the society itself reaches or finds the solution. Okay, society itself reaches to or find the solution. So yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bharata, right? Abhyutthanam dharmasya tadatmanam srijamyaham. This shlok of Srimad Bhagavad Gita, that simply does not tell about the incarnation of the Lord, but it tells us about the nature, about the conduct of the nature, that whenever there will be the extreme point that is reached in the nature, in the society, in the people, then there will be an automatic recovery, automatic recurve and setback. So here we are going to discuss about all these details, but let me tell you that if you are a new candidate who is aspiring to become a civil servant, you can definitely start your ambitions, start pursuing your dreams with our 2024 July evening batch starting from 22nd of July, and you can start your preparation with us on this particular batch starting from 22nd of July. And the details about this batch, the details are present in the comment box. After the session is over, you can check the comment box, or if you have not downloaded the StudyIQ application, you can download that, and you will be finding all the details, like it is present in the English and Hindi, in the 3 medium. And not just that, it has so many features which are essential for any candidate to crack the examination. So if you are willing to join us, you can use this code ASR live, that is my code. If you are using it, you can get the discount of rupees, right, discounted price of rupees 29,999. Okay, so let us move to the topic here. Emergence of the heterodoxy. Now focus on one thing. Geography defines the history. The entire approach of R.S. Sharma and the entire approach of the modern historians of the ancient history, that has been based upon the dependency of the historical developments upon the geographical features and the changes in the historical factors based upon the necessities of the society. All right. So here, Mid-Gangetic Valley, a fertile land for the food grains and new thoughts. Okay, fertile land for the food grains and new thoughts. Dear students, Mid-Gangetic Valley has always been an area where new thoughts have emerged constantly. In fact, you see in the modern history also, revolt of 1857, that when did it start? It started when the son of Balia, Mangal Pandey, he started his resistance. Then after, it was carried on, even then also it was related to the Gangetic Valley. Got it? Similarly, if not looking at the modern India, if we come through the ancient India, then the both jewels of ancient India, Lord Mahavir and Lord Buddha, they both originated into this region of the Mid-Gangetic Valley. However, the Mid-Gangetic Valley has not only given the emergence or rise to the new ideologues or the new leaders of our country, but at the same time, this has been a very fertile land, probably amongst the most fertile lands, right, most fertile plains in the world. And therefore, those who don't know about the Mid-Gangetic Valley, let me tell you that if we start looking at the Ganga plain from the western UP, then starting from the middle region of Uttar Pradesh, there is the beginning of the Mid-Gangetic plains, where lots and lots of rivers coming from Nepal, etc., they merge into this main stream of Ganga, and that stream of Ganga flows into the Bihar region, and this entire area of eastern UP and Bihar, this entire area of eastern UP and Bihar, that is probably amongst the most fertile plains, as I told you. And at the same time, when we are talking about the 6th century BC, come on, talking about the 6th century BC, then approximately at that time, the agricultural development, agricultural growth and development that had started, to flourish, okay, in this region, okay, that is mid-Gangetic, in the mid-Gangetic plains. And as you all are aware that I always find it more intriguing to connect the Indian history with the global or the world history. So let me give you a brief overview about the world developments which were taking place at that moment. Very good evening, Neeraj. So here what happened, that if you observe it carefully, then you will realize that suppose right, okay, this is about the map of Africa, and now let us assume that this is right about the map of, okay, right, India. And here what happened, right, here what happens, that suppose if we are talking about it, and right, so this is going upwards in the Europe, okay, this is going upward in the Europe, and here you will find it, right, you will find the, okay, formation of the islands, etc. Then afterwards, right, Chinese, right. So overall, if you see one thing, that when there was the growth of civilization, or the agricultural developments during the 6th century BC in the plains of India, okay, in the plains of India, similarly, you will have the development of agricultural practices in the southern Europe, in the Asia Minor region, in the Arab Peninsula as well, right, in the Arab Peninsula as well. Then you will also have it in the Huanghe Valley in China. So at the same time, this is the time period of the Iron Age, around 8th century BC, going as deep as up to the 6th century BC or 4th century BC, for the period of almost 500 years, you will observe the first cultural renaissance, in the world. As we call it, right, as we call the Neolithic period as the first revolution in the mankind history, similarly, you can say that the time period of the 6th century BC, that time period was probably the first cultural renaissance that was observed throughout the world. And what was the primary reason behind that cultural renaissance? Or before knowing the reasons, first of all, we should know exactly that what was that cultural renaissance. The cultural renaissance included the origin and the development of the new ideas, and new faiths, new ideas and new faiths, which were indicating the shift from the pastoral economy, pastoral and hunting economy, okay, to the agrarian economy, to the agrarian and trade economy. Are you able to understand this point, everybody? So the transformation of the pastoral and hunting based economy, pastoral and vagabond, pastoral and nomadic types of economies, they were being replaced by the permanently settled agrarian developed urban type of economies. It was the newly introduced prosperity. It was the result of, it was due to the newly introduced prosperity and capabilities like transportation, okay, transportation, etc. Got it, everyone? So it was due to the newly introduced prosperity. Prosperity was because of the agriculture, right? Because of the agrarian surplus. So we must understand one point, that probably the use of the iron had ensured that such areas which were lying in the fertile river plains, those areas, they produced the surplus food grains, which resulted into the development of the trade and commerce, and further resulted into the establishment of the urban culture, and therefore it resulted into the establishment of such ideas and such narratives which were supporting the growth and development of the newly introduced urban prosperity and urban culture. Are you getting the point? The pattern of society changes with the pattern of society changes with the changes, right, with the time. If there is a new introduction in the society, for example COVID, that came into our society in 2019-20, and the pattern of a social practice like religion, like education, completely changed due to that factor of change, which was COVID-19. From offline we went into the hybrid mode, or we went into the online mode, isn't it? Because every business or every practice in the society, every activity in the society, this, right, it can only survive only when it is according to the changing nature of the society, I hope you are able to grab the thought point, you are able to grab the point of thinking here. So every major economy was based in the river valleys, Huangho river valley, okay, Ganga Yamuna river valley, then you can say the Po river, okay, Po river in Italy, then similarly you can have the this Mesopotamian river belt, basically Tigris and Euphrates, right? So overall, whichever areas were conducive of the growth of trade, commerce, agriculture, those areas were in the need of a new system, a new setup, which would be promoting the ongoing trade and commerce activities. Okay. So this is why you can understand that, right, in the Arab region, there was the emergence of Judaism. In the Persia, there was the emergence of the Zoroastrianism. Emergence of the Zoroastrianism. In China, there was the emergence of the Confucianism. There was the emergence of Confucianism. Similarly, in the Greece region, there was the emergence of the intellectualism led by the intellectuals such as the Socrates, Aristotle and Plato, etc. Similarly, if we observe India, we saw the emergence of the heterodox religious leaders like Vardhaman Mahavir, Makhali Ghoshal, Gautam Buddha, etc. etc. Okay, everybody. So I hope you got a clear idea that what was the actual development which was happening during that time period in the entire world. India was not just a singular place where the changes were happening. The changes were occurring throughout the world. All right, everyone? Got it? Now, let us understand about the causes of the spread of the new thoughts. So, why were the new thoughts spreading? Why were the new thoughts spreading in India? What were the exact reason of it? You can see this map of India, probably of the 6th century BC. Here, you can see that most of the new cities, they have developed in the Doab region or in the Ganga plains only. Apart from that, a few more cities were in the Indus river system and some other cities were in the peninsular rivers and the peninsular river regions. However, these cities, why did they develop? The first question arises. They developed because this entire region was based in the agrarian country, agrarian zone. We all understand that. But the question is that what are the causes of the spread of this new thought? So, for that we need to understand the character of society. First of all, Varna based division of the society, people and their socio-economic status. Okay, everyone? Remember that the Vedic society was divided into the Varna system, which was having the 4 distinct Varna: Brahmanas, who were the teachers, who were the instructors, educators, priests. Then Kshatriyas were there, who were the protectors, guards, soldiers, kings, ruling class. Vaishya community was there, which was trader, merchant, agricultural people, right, pastoral people, all these. Then there was the 4th class, that was the Shudras. They were usually the assistants in the different tasks, sometimes working as the mercenaries, sometimes as the servants to the services of the Vaishya or Kshatriya or Brahman communities, isn't it? Overall, the society was based upon the Varna. However, this system was discriminatory. It was discriminatory. It did not provide, it did not provide the equal social prestige, or at the same time did not provide the equal economic opportunities as well. For example, if we consider the Vaishya was basically that class of people who used to pay the taxes. Shudra, they used to pay the taxes. However, Brahmins, they paid no taxes. They had only income without any tax. Kshatriyas, they had the share in the revenue of the land. However, they had to distribute that share among themselves as well as with the Purohits. So overall we can say that the society's division based upon the Varna had created a quite wider gap, leading to the rift between the distinct categories of the people, and especially more because of that categorization was dependent upon the birth, not upon the nature of service, nature of job that they were doing. All right, everyone. Apart from that, if we are talking about another big reason, the another big reason that came in the form of the reactions from the various levels of the social hierarchy. Guys, remember the hierarchy of the society that was Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. Okay. Here the maximum load and burden was taken by these two categories, and the upper two categories were having the power and prestige. Okay. The upper three categories, they had the ritualistic acceptability. Okay. Ritualistic acceptability. And let me tell you, there was a system called as Dvij Sanskar, called as Dvij. In the Dvij system, there was a Yagyopavit. Okay, there was a system of Yagyopavit. In the Yagyopavit system, what was the case? That the Brahmanas, Kshatriyas and the Vaishya, they were allowed to undergo the Yagyopavit Sanskar, where the sacred thread was tied into their hands, and it was called as their second birth. It was called as the new birth. Okay, as their new birth. Suppose if I am a Brahman and I get my Yagyopavit at a certain age, let us assume I get it at 5 years of age, then my new age, biological age will be 20 years, but the actual new age, social age, that will be just 15 years. Just 15 years. Okay. This is the difference that was taking place. What is the connection of this type of system with the emergence of the heterodox religion? The connection is very much evident. The Shudras were simply discarded. They were simply discarded of any type of social acceptability, any type of rituals which were utilized or which were conducted to ceremonize the social acceptability of the classes. They were not permitted for the Shudras, not allowed for the Shudras. Similarly, the recitation of the Vedas or hearing of the Vedas, hearing was allowed in the initial times, but later on even hearing was prohibited for the Shudras. Even hearing was prohibited for the women. Okay, everybody. So women, they reacted differently. Shudras, they reacted differently. Vaishya, they had the chances of earning lot of money. They were already earning a lot of economic prosperity, but still they were not getting any respect, because even though they paid taxes, they paid bali, bhag and shulk, everything, but they were not given the proper respect in the society. Now coming to the Kshatriyas, what was their problem? Kshatriyas were the second leading group in the society. However, they were doing all the efforts. They were putting their life into the risk. They were actually fighting the war right now. So what happened? Even Kshatriyas were also dissatisfied from the Brahmanical dominance, which is evidently clear that probably all the proponents of the new thoughts, they were mostly Kshatriyas. At least two biggest of them, Lord Mahavir Swami and Lord Buddha, were both Kshatriyas. Okay, which indicated that probably Kshatriyas were also willing to get the yoke of the Brahmins. And this is why probably the Buddhist literature, if you observe, the Buddhist literature, they always mention about the hierarchical position, and they keep Kshatriyas on the top of the hierarchical position in the society. So overall, the emergence of the new religion or new thoughts, that was somewhere hidden in the secret pain of the people. And as I told you, if there is a pain, there must be the treatment to that pain as well. So the pain was social discrimination, the pain was lack of opportunities in the economic and spiritual life. Solution came into the form of Jainism and Buddhism. Okay. Another reason, so another cause, that was the spread of the agricultural economy. Now you will wonder that how does the spread of agricultural economy, how does it affect the emergence of a new religion? Answer is very, very simple. If you observe the geographical features of the Gangetic Plains, you will witness that this area was extremely fertile, and therefore in this area there were dense forests. During early Vedic culture, it was not possible to reside in this area because it was very difficult to cut down the forest regions, to clear the forest with the help of the bronze tools. However, as soon as the spread of Iron Age took place, it was easier to burn these forest areas and to clear the forest with the help of the iron axes, right? Iron axes. And this is why, what happened? The iron axes, they became the primary tool, the primary feature of some early cultures which were settled in this area, right? Which were settled in these areas. And the influence of the Iron Age, that led to the agrarian economy. And we are all very much able to understand that why did the use of iron led to the agrarian economy? Because agriculture was started since the Neolithic time period. It continued to the Chalcolithic time period. However, when the advent of iron took place, then the deeper plowing of the field resulted into the better cultivation. Not just that, the deeper plowing of the field with the help of iron tools, it required the bullocks, the pair of bullocks, because the plow which was used now, that was very heavy plow. And when the use of bullocks will be there, cattle will be there, definitely the cattle, including the bullocks, including the cows, including the buffaloes, etc., they all will become the backbone of the economy, especially the bulls and horses and the male buffaloes. Okay, these three will become the backbone of the economy, because they will be helping in the agriculture, they will be helping in the transportation, they will be helping in the cargo ferries, right, cargo fairings. So many uses were there. Now remember that point, that agriculture and animal stocks, they had become very, very important. Then the consequences of the ritualistic sacrifices. So the ritualistic sacrifices, they also led to huge unrest in the society. And let me tell you one thing, that the Vedic sacrifices which were targeted to provide the more and more territorial expansion to a particular king. For the territorial expansion, the customs and traditions which were introduced into those Vedic sacrifices, they had become extremely complicated, and those complicated rituals, they led to the sacrifices of the animals, especially the bulls, especially the horses, especially the buffaloes. Got it? And all these three animals, buffalo, horses, bulls, they were the drought animals. What were they? They were the drought animals. And guys, remember one point, that drought animals are extremely crucial for the economy. They were extremely crucial for the economy. And why so? Because they contributed in the agriculture, in the transportation, right, of the passengers and goods. Okay, so that is why the sacrifice of these animals by the Vedic yagyas that resulted into the loss of huge number of the animals, and since the animals were the backbone of the agrarian economy, that resulted into the popular discontent or popular discontent or popular unrest, right, or revolt against the prevalent sacrificial circumstances or prevalent sacrificial activities. Got it, everyone? You might have heard about some stories. That usually in the Puranic stories or in the early stories, there were certain groups of the people who were called as the Asur, or some of them were also called as Daitya, right. If you remember these Asuras and Daityas, they were mostly visualized, they were mostly shown as desecrating the sacrifices which were taking place, as desecrating the Vedic rituals which were taking place. Okay, if you remember, in the Vedic culture, there was a terminology called as Dasyu, right. So if you remember, who was Dasyu? Dasyu were the local people. Okay, these local people, they were mostly such people who conducted basic agrarian activities. They were not involved into the Vedic sacrifices, and very often whenever the Vedic sacrifices took place, they used to destroy those sacrifices because they understood it as detrimental to their territories, to their economy, and to their wealth, cattle, etc. Why was it detrimental to their territorial area? Remember that usually the sacrifices during the later Vedic period, they took place in order to provide the further strength or in order to prove the territorial claim of any particular ruler. That is why it was often seen as offensive against the agricultural tribes. All right, everyone. Now these two are different things. However, similarly, if we connect the sacrifice of the animals through the Vedic yagyas, then it was quite obvious that the common people who were dependent upon the agriculture, the common people who were dependent upon the trade and commerce, who were dependent upon the transportation and cultivation, and their animals are going into the sacrifices, they will be unhappy with the ongoing religious, cultural, traditional, customary practices. Okay. Apart from that, another reason was the expansion of the trade, rise of the cities, and urbanization. Guys, remember one thing, that cities and merchants, they had started emerging during the 7th century BC or 6th century BC. By that time, they had started their dominance. They had started to show their dominance. Various cities like Champa, Hastinapur, Vaishali, Rajgir, Kaushambi, right, Varanasi, Shravasti, etc., they started to emerge by the time period of 7th century, 6th century BC. And the reason behind the prosperity of these areas, the reasons were the merchants who were actually getting lots of money, lots of profit because of the profitable trade activities that they were doing. And let me tell you that they used to form the groups or the guilds. These groups or the guilds which were called as Shreni. These Shrenis, they used to be the autonomous they used to be the autonomous organizations or autonomous associations. Okay, and they were so much autonomous that they were the first to mint a coin. Okay, everyone. So they were the earliest in the Indian history to initiate the coin punching, and that is why, since they were punching certain symbols into the metal pieces to call them as their coins, these initial coins were called as the punch marked coins. Alright, everyone. These punch marked coins, they served as currency. And since they served as currency, this became extremely convenient, extremely easy for the different merchants, different cities to interact with each other, to do the trading with each other, and to develop a camaraderie, to develop a combination of the ideas and thoughts with each other. Therefore, you will see throughout the history of Jainism and Buddhism that either Mahatma Buddha or Lord Mahavira, both of them continuously kept on traveling from one city to the another city. You might have heard that probably Mahatma Buddha also wanted to go to the Avanti, the Ujjaini, but he could not embark his journey to that place. However, he mostly traveled in the Mahajanpadas or cities of Shravasti, right, city of Varanasi, something like that. Okay, so all these areas, they were the big urban centers, and the big merchants who were very prosperous, they were supporting the growth and development of this area. Now these merchants, what will they require? They will require such a system which does not promote violence, which talks about the peace and prosperity, talks about the peace and equality, and which also supports the trading operations, trading practices. And guys, remember, Jainism and Buddhism, they were the most supportive religions as far as the trading and commercial activities were concerned. Okay, you can understand it from one example. Buddhism did not stop anybody to become the member of the Buddhist Sangha, right? Buddhist Sangha. However, if Mahatma Buddha in his lifetime had stopped the women to become the member of Sangha, later on the insistence of Anand, he had allowed the women. However, he did not allow such people who were defaulters, such people who were willful defaulters, right? So those who had gone bankrupt after taking the loans from somebody, those who did not return the loans, they were not allowed to become the members of the Sangh. Similarly, such slaves who were sold to the different people or who were kept at the home service of the different people because of the non-payment of the dues, of the loans, even they were not allowed to become the members of the Buddhist Sangha. So I hope that you got a clear idea that how was Mahatma Buddha and his religion conducive enough to support the trade and commerce. Okay, not just that, if we talk about the Vedic scriptures, they do not allow collection of the interest or distribution of the loans, etc., because they consider it as the immoral activity. Even if you are giving the money to somebody, you cannot expect to collect extra money. As much as you have given, that much should be collected by you. That is the conventional approach. Buddhism and Jainism, both, they did not consider it as a wrong practice. They allowed the lending of money, they allowed the collection of interest, and they allowed to amass the property as per the need. Remember that Jainism does not talk about it. Jainism talks about a parigrah and a stay, right? So that means Jainism says that if that is not required by you, do not amass that, do not accumulate that. But that is a very tricky statement, because every person has the different requirements. So suppose for me, even a million of rupee or million of dollar is less, and for somebody else even $100 is also sufficient. Okay, so that is a very tricky statement, and that in the long period of time that became very helpful for the merchants to become rich merchants. All right, everybody. Now, so the Dharma Shastras in the Vedic culture, they did not allow the lending of the money, did not allow the collection of the interest, but Buddhism and Jainism have both permitted this. Then reactions against the private property. On the one side, there was a group of people who were getting rich and richer. On the other side, there was another group of people who were supporting, right? Hello Suprit, how are you? They were supporting the simple life with ascetic like lifestyle. And as I told you, that statement of aparigrah, if you don't need it, don't gather it, aparigrah in Jainism. Even similar type of principle is also present in Buddhism as well. Guys, these tricky statements, they played with the minds of the people very brilliantly. So if somebody wanted to live like an ascetic, live like a hermit, they were allowed to live like a hermit. No stopping them as well. All right, everyone. So basically we can say that the new religions which were going to be created, they required the extreme flexible characters, and Jainism and Buddhism both had this flexibility into their character, and that is why they were also at the same time allowing the lending and interest collection, and at the same time they were also promoting the primitive life without the much involvement of money into the common people's life. All right, everyone. So overall, these were the primary reasons which led to the emergence of the new religious thoughts, new religious processes like Jainism, Buddhism, agnosticism, etc., or Agyavad or Bhagyavad. Similarly, lots and lots of currents had started. Probably more than 3,600 different religious groups had started during the 6th century BC. However, only a handful of them, probably 8 or 10, they could survive for a long period of time, and only 2 of them, that is Jainism and Buddhism, they are still surviving today with lots and lots of modification. In Buddhism, only the Jainism is that religion which is surviving since the 6th century or even earlier than that, before Christ, till today, and it is almost very, very close to the actual principles that which were propagated during the onset of this religion. Okay. So guys, I hope that it is absolutely clear to everybody now, that as you can see here, that those candidates who are looking forward to start their preparation, they can actually join our batches in the English and Hindi media, which is starting from 22nd of July, and here you will be getting comprehensive preparation help and guidance in all the stages of your examination. Just you have to do one thing, that use this code ASR live to get this prize for this particular course starting from 22nd of July. Thank you so much for watching it, guys. Take care. Bye-bye. And if you want the PDF of this session as well, you can join my Telegram channel, and let's meet tomorrow with the details about Jainism. So tomorrow we will be covering the Jainism from the NCERT plus the new NCERT. Now, take care, guys. Bye-bye and have a great day. Thank you so much. Please do not forget to revise this lecture once again. Do not forget to connect the dots by taking the atlas along with you, and whatever I have told you in this lecture, try to connect the dots because it creates a solid foundation for all of you for your examination. So if you love this lecture, don't forget to share it with your friends also. Bye bye, take care and Jai Hind.